Hey everyone, it's Vince with C2 Tactical, and today we're talking with Doc over at Mountain Man Medical. So tell us a little bit about Mountain Man Medical. What is it all about?
Oh, well, I helped start the company a couple years ago. It's all totally based on my expertise, and we sell trauma kits, primarily emergency bleeding control trauma kits. So this is not your average fix a boo-boo with a Band-Aid. This is catastrophic bleeding. Someone is about to die. What do? We sell trauma kits for that.
What makes your kits different than others? There's a lot of first aid kits out there, from Walmart to super fancy online stuff. Like what really makes your kits great?
I would say the first most important thing is that these are not medical kits. These are not first aid kits. These are trauma kits. So generally when you get a medical kit, what you're purchasing is over-the-counter boo-boo items. Your Band-Aids, maybe some Neosporin, Motrin, Tylenol, that kind of stuff. Some of our larger kits do include those materials, but primarily what we're after is bleeding control. So these are trauma kits. It's full of tourniquets, wound packing, chest seal, things that are going to keep somebody alive until EMS can show up on scene.
So you talked about a tourniquet and bleeding. So why is that important when someone's injured?
That's your most dangerous wound, is bleeding to death. You can bleed out from a femoral artery within 2.5 to 3 minutes. And average response time here in the US is sitting about 11 minutes, 34 seconds. So obviously you're gonna bleed out a lot faster than EMS can arrive. So having a ready-made, purpose-made, commercial-grade tourniquet is important for controlling that bleeding.
There's a lot of people out there in the wilderness. You've got your hunters, your archers, folks just going to the range. Like who should really buy this kit?
Anybody doing anything dangerous. I think that this is an important thing to have in every range kit, especially in IFAC or if you're injured. Hopefully everybody has their own equipment on them. Everybody should have their own trauma kit and you'll use their gear on them. But obviously not everybody is totally prepared for that. So having your own stuff is very important. So anytime you're gonna go to the range, anytime you're going to the mountains, we have a kit for that. Our backcountry hunters, ounces equal pounds, pounds equal pain. So we've got a nice small trauma kit that has everything they need in it to take care of somebody and keep them alive until they can get them out of the mountains.
So there's a lot of things in here. Tell me about what makes these kits great.
So primarily it's going to be that we have quality items in here. We don't make any of these stuff ourselves. We source it all from top quality people like North American Rescue, TAC Med Solution, Dynarex. These are all pre-established companies who are making the best quality stuff that you can possibly get. So we pack all of that in here. We know that it's going to work. It's stuff that I've used personally on other people. It's stuff I know I'm going to be able to use on my own kids. So it's going to be fantastic quality stuff. That's primarily the most important part. And it's all heavily on bleeding control. This isn't medications. This isn't boo-boos and Band-Aids. This is heavy, heavy bleeding, bad situation.
So Doc, you hear that thing called triple C. Like what does that really mean?
Well, TCCC was originally, the committee for TCCC is a government think tank that was set up to investigate what gear is the best and what practices are best for our troops in combat. So it's full of very smart people, doctors and nurses and trauma medics who are all very experienced. They all take all of the equipment and they test it to make sure that it's actually going to work for our guys in combat.
So how does that relate to Mountain Man Medical products?
So we use that as one of our bases for how we understand whether or not something is a good component. So you take, for instance, the CAT tourniquet that has an enormous track record of being able to work. It was originally set up by the committee of TCCC and approved by them to be used by our troops in combat. So anything that's got their stamp of approval, we know has been rigorously tested and proven in combat. So we know that it can go in our kit.
Doc, we talked a little bit about the wound packing. Are there different kinds of materials that can go into that?
Yes. Well, you have multiple different versions. You have your normal gauze, which is just your standard gauze that's been sterilized and then vacuum packed. And then you also have your hemostatic agents. And that includes things like your Quick Clot and your Kito gauze. And what that is it's just a regular gauze that's been impregnated with a hemostatic agent. And hemostatic is just a fancy word for it makes the blood clot quicker. So it's very beneficial for controlling bleeding, but essentially what we want is to get good wound packing practices. We're gonna pack that wound with so much gauze that it's gonna clamp down that artery, and that's where we're gonna get most of our bleeding control from.
All right, so we've got 3 kits here. Tell us a little bit about these.
So this one is the Sweetwater, and this is our least expensive version. So if you are low on cash, this is the one that you want to get. It's got everything in it that you need to take care of somebody in a bad situation. The Sweetwater, and this is running about 50 bucks.
What about this one here?
This one is our Wind River, and this has all of the stuff that you need in it to take care of between 1 and 4 people. And it has a lot of extra items on top of your trauma stuff. So it's got a little bit of over-the-counter first aid things like your Band-Aid, your Neosporin, and some over-the-counter meds. But primarily, this is set up to handle a massive trauma event for multiple people, or maybe just one really messed up person.
All right, and we've got our last one here. Saving the best for last.
And this one is our best seller. This is the Yellowstone, and this has all of the items you need in it to take care of exactly one person. It's got chest seals, tourniquets, pressure dressings, and wound packing. So it'll take very good care of at least one person, and maybe more depending on the styles of the wounds. And that is the Yellowstone, and it's running 120.
So those are all really good suggestions. Sometimes there can be a lot of stuff in there that can be confusing to folks. So how do people learn about that?
Well, we have online on mountainmanmedical.com, we have a totally free trauma class. It's about an hour and 17 minutes long, and it's broken up into 8 or 9 videos. So you can watch a couple of videos a day, or you can watch it with your community, your family, your church, whatever group that you have, and practice together on the skills. So it'll teach you how to use everything in the trauma kit so that you actually do something good for somebody when they're in a bad situation.
So each of these 3 kits will allow customers to be able to do that.
Absolutely. Tourniquets are great. A lot of people will carry tourniquets, but they don't fix everything. Tourniquets only work on your arms and legs. If you get wounded anywhere else, we got to know how to fix that. Wound packing is how you fix it.
Very good. Well, thank you for spending some time with us, Doc. Really appreciate it. And these products are available at C2 Tactical.